Before I get into why I started Precious Little Ladies, I want to share a poem. I write for therapy. It took me 4 years to write my book because I am a survivor of everything that I just listed. So this one is called Orange is Black. I'm transforming color and purpose. Electricity translates against the skin of my back, forcing my spine to flex, pushing my chest out so far that the atmosphere in front of me becomes an invisible wall, impermeable by the force of my cries. Closing my eyes, darkness is invaded by blinding light, and my breath escapes me. White, orange, white, black. Black is the color that connects me to my ancestors, but at this moment I find a new appreciation for our kinship. The sound that follows the lick of the orange modern wit sends my soul traveling through junctures, caressing the energy trails of blood, sweat, and tears left by those before me. In this time before me there is no one. I am the first, one of 9, alien in the position that I find myself. A peculiar predicament ascribed to me not by the color of my skin or by my social position, but by the people that my God has chosen as my earthly guardians. The sting of the next slash radiates in pieces broken by the overloaded nerve endings from the stripes before it. My arms, uncontrolled by my consciousness, making me long for their capture around the steel tree before me, aimlessly contort to places on my back, attempting to extinguish the invisible trails of fire. The fire lit by the orange modern whip evaporate all drops of moisture from my eyes before they can escape. My mouth opens, but as in space, sound refuses to resonate. Closing my eyes, I absorb the air surrounding me in preparation for the next fire kiss. I see the eyes of my daughter, my sister, offspring of myself, watching her father, her grandfather, offspring of him, express his rage on her mother's, his daughter's tender skin. And I fear for her remembrance of this moment. This moment she will never see. But many sights before me may leave scars mirroring those on my back, on my ancestors' backs, on the back of her mind. The orange insulated wires rip my skin another time, and I exhale, gaining control of the pain, coercing it to wash over my entire being. I am one with it, one with them, one with her and one with him. Controlling my senses as I peer through the rip in time, mesmerized by my future, hypnotized by the manifestation of that moment when he's too tired to swim again. So was inspired by a time that my father whipped me after he forced me to have anal sex with another person. When I was 8 years old, let me catch my breath for a second. When I was 8 years old, my father started molesting me. When I was 10, he started raping me. By the time I was 12, he deemed me his sex slave. I gave my birth to my first child for him at 15 years old. Over the years, I have had 4 children from my father, one of whom just passed in 2010 as a result of inborn errors due to the incestuous abuse. I escaped my father when I was 23 years old. In that process, the state took my children. I was able to get them back. It took me about 3 years, and just before they went up for adoption, I was able to get them back, and we reestablished ourselves. I did not go to school. I did not receive a traditional education. I was homeschooled. My father was the music video director of the Killing Me Softly for the Foodies. That is his well-known work. He was an MTV Music Award winner, and he went on to produce and direct many other music videos. Even though he was a public figure, no one knew what he was doing. He was looked up to, but the whole time he was abusing me and my sisters. When I finally escaped my father, even though I was physically free, it took a long time for me to become mentally free. So I started my organization to help other women and children who have suffered what I've been through, and also help prevent it from happening to others. I started writing my book in 2009, just before my daughter died. She died in 2010. She would be 17 now. It took me 4 years to write my book. I use it as a form of therapy. It's called Unashamed, A Life Tainted. And because of the shame and fear that victims and survivors have, I have basically done the opposite of what a lot of people and a lot of women do. I speak out about what happened to me in order to raise awareness and to also plant seeds in others so that we can find solutions and prevent this from happening to everyone else. 1 in 4 women are affected by sexual abuse. 1 in 4 women have been affected by domestic violence. Those are only the statistics that we know of, meaning that those are the things that have been reported. Can you imagine how many others have been affected that don't say anything? So this is an epidemic, which is the reason even more why I speak out, in order to empower others to use their voice to raise awareness so that we can find solutions. I am also, I decided to go to school in 2012. My daughter passing was bittersweet. Because she was special needs, I dedicated myself to her quality of life. But when she passed away, I was able to travel, 1, and also go to school. I started college. I was on the dean's list every semester. I am now at William Patterson University as a double major in broadcast journalism and media productions. And I will be graduating with honors in May. I am also a chef. I'm also a poet. I use all of my capabilities because they were required in order for me to survive my father. I'm also a media personality. I have my own radio show I host on WZYE 95.9 at Fargo. I speak about anything, and I am open to speaking about anything. So at this time, Balm, if it's okay, I'd like to open up the floor to questions. You can ask me anything. I did get married at some point, and I had another child. I felt I needed to live a normal existence. I didn't know what a healthy relationship was. So I had that learning experience. We were married. He cheated on me with 2 of my sisters, and we got into the resources are out there. So, I went a little further, but on that note, does anyone have any questions? Yes.
What did you do to not think about the pain stuff?
Well, I don't try to not think about it. What comes with being a survivor of any trauma, I think the thing that is the most damaging is trying to avoid the thoughts, trying to avoid the dreams. Those things will come. But what I do to cope is that I take that energy and I put it on paper. I put it in dancing. I love to dance. Music moves my body, and I release all of that negative energy from doing that. So it's almost self-destructive to try and fight what your body is naturally doing, what your mind is naturally doing to try and heal itself. So I encourage you accept the visions, accept the memories, and then do something to work beyond them.
So did your father, was there a criminal case behind that? Did he receive time for that? And as a result of your sisters cheating with your husband, is that a forgiving relationship based on the traumas that they went through and knowing that, that probably contributed to it?
Yes, that is what, I forgave them right away. I forgave my younger sister when I found out because of that. She was abused as well. And the culture that my father created in our family was that we were all having sex with the same man. He was also polygamous. So because our perspective of what a healthy relationship was skewed, yes, I do believe that in our journey to heal and reestablish ourselves, they saw me, Aziza, their oldest sister, as the one that was excelling and having a normal life. And I believe that they wanted some of it. So I'm taking that into consideration and my empathy for them and knowing that we are spiritual beings having a human experience and they were on their growing process, then I forgave them. And I'm trying to help them as much as possible through it. So I'm very supportive to my sister. To answer your other question, we went to the police in 2006. My siblings, my sisters wanted to report my father once we realized that he was was having other children and other girl children that we knew that he would abuse. So they wanted to report him right away. I wasn't ready at the time because my children were in the public school system. And as you know, a lot of the states, well maybe you don't know, but a lot of states, I know California does, I believe New Jersey does, a rapist still has rights to his child. So I was afraid that he would come and kidnap them, which he had tried to do before. He actually sent out a private investigator to find out where I lived. Nonetheless, my sisters went ahead, and then I followed. We reported him. It took about a year for the police to capture him, and it finally went to trial in 2010. So over a course of 3 years of testifying, my father finally is serving 90 years in prison.
90?
Yes. And the blessing was that at the time that I was testifying, that same year, New Jersey just changed the statute of limitations. Before you, a victim, had 5 years to report the abuse from the point that they remembered the abuse. Now there's no statute of limitations because they understand the PTSD that's associated with suffering abuse.
I want to say thank you for sharing. Personally, I've been raped, I've been molested, and to share those things, it's always kind of like, it's not hard for me because I've made peace with it and I've practiced the constant forgiveness of what, comes along with that. For my daughter, like, I keep her very close to me. So I never want to shelter her from things, but hearing your story, I have a sense of gratitude right now so that, just this was happening right now for ears like hers that has probably never heard anything like this. So I'm very grateful for this moment, and I'm very grateful for you, for being a vessel to do this to everyone here. And even Ayana, I'm thinking about you right now because it's something that it resonates. And even as an educator in our schools, I'm building connections with so many young girls, and they're all like, you can tell they're waiting to find someone to tell.
Right.
Because they don't know where to go, how to even muster up the words to say it. Because I didn't until I was, a lot older than when it was happening. Because I didn't know what to do, I didn't know what to say. So.
Well, thank you for telling me that. One of the communication with our daughters and make them feel like it is okay to come to you, So thank you for bringing her and allowing her to be here, a member of the audience.